In the middle of this, we heard in our comic book club that Jeff had interviewed Sergio, that he was Nelson. So we said, why don't you get Sergio to come and speak at one of our meetings? We said, sure. So Sergio came one day to a comic club meeting, and that's the day I met him at this comic club. Very briefly. We had about 60 people there, with the biggest crowd we ever had. He swears we had 5 people there. I say we had 60 people. The point is, he came in that day, I was introduced to him, and we spent a whopping minute and a half talking. I was the president of the club. Now, a couple of weeks later, Jeff and Herbert terminated their partnership. They started fighting over money, and they they had this ugly divorce. They're screaming at each other, you cheated me on this, you just stripped the money. The fanzine never came out, but Herbert had invested like $33 with all the money in the world. So they started yelling, and Herbert saying, this is mine, this assets are mine, we bought these pens, they're mine, and Jeff saying, no, those are my pens. They start fighting. So the fight gets real ugly, and they decide to settle it. They're going to come to the one person they both trust, play like Judge Walker's, and they come to me. I am going to divide up the assets of this partnership. I was working at that time for a company called Marble Mania International, which is a Marble fan club. It's 1750 North La Cienega in Los Angeles. And on Saturday, we made an appointment. It was like a court thing. We told the guys, you guys show up at 1 o'clock. Jeff, you present your case of what you think you should have out of the partnership. Herbert, you present your case of what you think you should have. And I will decide, I will divide up the material for you. Fine. So we had a whole staff of comic fans working there, rolling posters and stuffing envelopes and things all day. And we come to my office, and Herbert presents his case for all these things are his, and Jeff presents his case for these assets are his. And the thing in dispute is this box of Sergio Aragones originals. That's the only thing they've got that's worth anything in the whole partnership. And Jeff is saying they're mine, he gave me for my report, I'm not giving them up. And Herbert is saying, no, they're assets of the company, I paid to Xerox these things and to keep them, and I should have half of it. And they're fighting back and forth over these things. And I don't know that Jeff stole these, that Jeff had promised to return them to Sergio. So finally, after looking over this, I say, okay, Herbert, you take that, Jeff, you take that, and Herbert, you take that. As far as the Sergio Aragones originals are concerned, we'll split them up. Just divide them up in half, and you guys. And Jeff goes, no, they're all mine. He grabs the box and starts running out of the office. Herbert starts screaming, come back here. The entire office staff, which hates Jeff anyway, starts chasing him out Los Angeles. Now, you may remember in the movies, there's always that scene where the bank robber is getting away, and the police are so he takes the money, he starts hurling it in the air. So Jeff starts grabbing his fistfuls of Sergio originals and throws them in the air, and they start scattering. It was a windy day, all up and down La Cienega Boulevard. I suggest everybody, let's wait to beat the shit out of Jeff. Let's go save the Sergio. So we all start fanning up and down Los Angeles. You'd be amazed how your drawings travel. They are all up and down Los Angeles, and we're running around picking them up and running out in the middle of traffic and stopping cars and picking these little strips of paper. And we got them all. We thought we found them all. We got them in this box, finally, back in the box. Jeff was gone. I don't think we ever saw him again. But we got them all about we thought we'd save all the originals. And when we come back in, Herbert's saying, okay, they're mine now, right? I go, no. I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place. I'm giving them back to Sergio. And I go to the phone, and I call Sergio, and I say, remember me as the president of the comic club? I've got these for you. He goes, oh, my marginals. I will come get them. He drove over to the office that day, and I gave him back the box of the marginals, and that was the first time I ever spent any time with Sergio and got to know him when we became friends. Now, that was on a Saturday. On Monday, I'm coming to work. I walk into work down Los Angeles, and I suddenly become the gunner, and there's a marginal. It's a firing squad. I pick it up. And in the bush, there's another one. We missed a few. They traveled much more than I thought. We picked up about 4 or 5 more. I go to the office. The woman who has the office next door comes over to me and she says, you guys do cartoons, right? We go, yeah. She says, are these yours? And she's having a fistful of them. We missed about 25 or 30 of them. So I put them in an envelope, and I said, I must give these back to Sergio.
Yeah!
5 of them.
Yes.
And they got little red X's on them, which I guess are Al Phelps, the original.
Yes. I've seen him do that.
There you go.
Is Jeff here?
No, he's Mark's lawyer.
I'm not surprised you were rejected.
Yes. Hey,
You see how history is written? No matter what I say now, it will sound like, wait a minute, Mark said that and it's going to be recorded in all the cameras. First of all, in 1968, I was in Europe.
in the summer of 1977, by the time this all the original thing that was in the summer of 70, I was working. I was hired by Jack Kirby as assistant. I still working for Marvel. I was working with a fellow named Steve Sherman on both projects. We went to New York to go to the comic book convention on July 4th weekend and to visit the DC and Marvel offices. The first time I'd ever been to those offices. The first day we were there, we went to the DC office. The second day, we had an appointment to meet Stan Lee at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. And someone calls and says, Stan's got a meeting, can you guys go to 2 instead? I said, okay, obviously we have to come at 2. And we had nothing to do that morning, so we decided to just walk down Madison Avenue. I'm walking down Madison with my friend Steve, and all of a sudden I hear across the street him yell, "Mi amigo!" I look over and it's Sergio. To this day, I don't know how he remembered me, because we only met that one time about 4 months earlier, 5 months earlier. And we go over to say hello to him, and he says, "Oh, you were in New York for the convention?" We said, "Yes." He says, "Are you here to take a tour of the man offices?" We said, "No. Is it possible to tour the man offices?" And he says, "Yes, I have to have the man offices right here. You were right in front of the Man magazine offices." It's like, I just have to have Marshall McLuhan right here. And he took us in. As we're walking in, this little sad-faced man with a portfolio was walking out. It was Wally Wood. And we walked in, and he introduced us that day to Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein, who we're doing later today in this room. And I met Angela Torres there that day, and I thought, what's he doing here? He doesn't draw for Matt. He was handing in his first job ever for Matt. And he's being very amused. You find what you want to use? Very funny.
I haven't seen these things in 40 years. Long time, many of you weren't even born. You want to tell the same story with Feldstein?
No. All right. We got a...
No, I was saying closing chapters. Now
Anyway.
I closing marginal chapters.
Anyway, that's how I got to know Sergio. Even more on that trip was we hung out at the convention.